Welcome, everybody. I hope you can hear me. This is Jeff Menhas. I am Executive Director at the UCI Alumni Association, and we are about to get started with our Lunch with Eaters program. And I'm so excited to see so many participants on this program. Feel free to eat lunch, as it were. This program is designed to be casual, to fit into your life. I know so many folks are working from home or have so many different obligations, but we wanted to be able to provide value to you with really great learnings in a diverse array of topics. So I'm gonna just kind of set up the program and what we're doing here. We'll go through a couple housekeeping items, and then I'm gonna introduce the person we are all here to hear from. This is Lunch with Eaters. This is a twice-a-month virtual lunch and learn program built specifically for the UCI alumni community. We have 200,000 alumni around the world, and a lot of us have some time on our hands. So this has turned out to be quite a popular series, and we're excited for this one. We hope you take away some helpful tips and tricks to to apply and to share with others. We have all of the Lunch with Eaters, as well as a plethora of other virtual programming available for you, resources to feel connected and engaged with fellow alumni, because we're in this together and we all share that wonderful Anteater connection. So we have a website. It's called Anteaters Go Virtual. It's a new resource. We will be sharing that link with you if you haven't seen it yet, but it has everything on there, from our virtual events listing, in which we have events almost every other day, to networking and mentoring opportunities that you can participate in remotely, to even fun things like coloring pages with Anteaters and other activities that you can do with your family and kids. So we're all in one big community, and thankful to have everyone joining us today. So I'm going to let you all know that you are muted. That'll help us eliminate background noise and interference. This will be a moderated hour. We have a program that our featured speaker, Christine, is going to go through after we get through a couple of Q&As. And by the way, that link to the Anteaters Go Virtual page just should have appeared in your chat from Jessica Fernandez. We do invite questions because we will have time for Q&A at the end. So use the chat feature on Zoom to submit your questions for the Q&A portion, and then we'll pull questions from there at the end. All right, so I'm going to go ahead without further ado and introduce our wonderful speaker, our wonderful guest, and her name is Christine Chow. Christine is a super proud alumna of UCI. She's a program manager for the engineering organization at LinkedIn in San Francisco. She works on strategic initiatives and operational projects and programs that enable the organization to operate more efficiently and effectively. She is also a culture champion, remember that, bringing LinkedIn's culture to life by designing and executing virtual events for employees. Beyond that, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Christine has been a phenomenal model alumna when it comes to being engaged and connecting other Anteaters together. She has been pivotal in helping us host in-person events in the San Francisco Bay Area, both at LinkedIn's headquarters in San Francisco, which is an amazing space, and their Sunnyvale campus in Silicon Valley. Both of those were very, very popular events. Beyond that, Christine is the new president of the San Francisco Bay Area Alumni Chapter. So she wears many hats. She is a culture champion and a LinkedIn expert, and we are very lucky to have her with us today. So I know we're not going to be able to hear you, but I'd love everyone online to join me in giving Christine a great big Anteater welcome. Welcome, Christine. And I believe we're going to see Christine's video and audio in just a second.
Hi, can you hear me?
Here you are. Hi, Christine.
Hello. Thanks so
Well,
much for that kind introduction. It's my pleasure getting to work with you, the UCI team, and be here to give back to the UCI community.
that's wonderful. So I've got a couple of lead-in questions just on that very thing. So maybe we can start by you just talking about your experience at UCI and maybe a couple stories from your experience at UCI and kind of how that's brought you along to where you are now, having graduated 10 years ago.
Yes, thanks for reminding me that it's been 10 years. I actually recently went to our 10-year reunion right before all of this in February. Yeah, so I personally really loved my time at UCI, had a really great experience. I was pretty involved on campus and participated in various like extracurricular activities. From the Career Center, I was a peer consultant or peer counselor. And I was part of Panhellenic sorority. I used to see some of my sorority sisters on the line. Thanks for joining. And ASUCI Student Services. I really loved all the relationships and friendships that I built there, including my best friend who now lives 2 blocks away from me in San Francisco. I think she's also on the line. So, and her name's also Christine. So yeah, I really enjoyed my experience at Irvine.
And you are a proud anteater, as we've said. One thing I wanted to point out, not about your amazing, beautiful Golden Gate Bridge background, but mine, if you can see mine, some of you on social media probably voted and saw, but Peter the Anteater won yet another mascot competition. We tend to win them all because everybody loves Peter, not just us actual anteaters, but we won the Tokyo Dashi 256 college competition for Peter the Anteater. So that's what my background's all about. So back to Christine. What was it that drew you to work at LinkedIn? And how did you get the coolest title in the world, Culture Champion? I know that's one of your several titles, but talk about your path to LinkedIn and how you became what is such a cool sounding job.
Yeah, so tons of my friends found great opportunities through LinkedIn. So I really liked what the company was doing, and it was creating impact to people's lives. And when I started at LinkedIn, I actually started in recruiting, and what better company to work for than a company that was transforming the way people were recruiting and hiring for talent. So I really resonated with that. And that's why I started working at LinkedIn. And it was actually through connection as well. So definitely network is important. And my title, so I'm a program manager full time for the engineering org, but my side job at LinkedIn is culture champion, but that's something that I find so important, the culture of the company. And I really want to build community within LinkedIn. When I was in recruiting, I would tell people how great it was at LinkedIn, but I wanted to, actually walk the talk and make that happen for people who actually employees that work for LinkedIn. So I run events monthly called In Days at LinkedIn, where we give back to employees to do something different outside of their day job. And we create lots of different events for people to come together. Currently, they're virtually, so it's been fun thinking of virtual ways to connect with our employees.
Hmm. I think there's something to be learned from that, not just at LinkedIn, but you can be a culture champion unofficially at any organization, right? You can do that wherever you work. You can do that with your alma mater, for example, spreading anteater spirit and more. So you've done that at LinkedIn, which is phenomenal, but everyone should benefit from becoming a culture champion, I think. Can you maybe share one or two of your highlights that you have while working at LinkedIn?
Yeah. So I recently celebrated my 7 years at LinkedIn, which is crazy. It's been a fun ride, and it's a bit rare in tech, but I continue to love working for the company. And one of the biggest reasons is definitely the people and the culture. They've become my work family. We work so closely and really have that connection. And that piece is so important. I think that's something that we build and I've helped build also at the company, and something that is just so awesome for me. And also in the 7 years that I've been at the company, I've had 4 different roles. I started in product recruiting, moved over to tech engineering recruiting, and then did a rotation on the employee experience and events team, into my current role as a program manager for the engineering organization. And so I find that the company really values transformation and giving people chances to do different things. And that's something that has really stuck to me and why I continue to love working here.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing that insight, Christine. Now, I think the audience would love to know more about how to do what they're here for, rock their LinkedIn profile. So maybe you can lead us in. I believe we have a poll question. Is that right? We might have one popping up here about your LinkedIn profile.
Yep. So something that we do at LinkedIn when we do introductions is generally we share something that's not on our LinkedIn profile. And so I believe there is a poll coming up for you to guess what is not on my LinkedIn profile. Let's see if you're able to guess. I think there's maybe 20 seconds. So we'll give you guys some time to guess what's not on my LinkedIn profile if you haven't already taken a look at my LinkedIn profile. So I see that Cold Stone is currently in the lead. And you are correct. I did work at Cold Stone. That was actually my very first job in high school. I made ice cream, chopped ice cream, sang songs when people tipped us, all of that fun stuff. But that has been way back in the day. And since then, I've gained a lot of different experiences that are more relevant to what I'm doing. And so that is currently not on my LinkedIn profile. The other ones actually are like visiting national parks, well, the outdoors specifically, and hang out with my Pomeranian and new restaurants, because for me, I feel that that kind of showcases a little bit more of my personality and some things I like to do like outside of work. You don't have to do that, but it's like my personal preference is showing a little bit more about myself personally. And I find that could be a good way to engage with other people who might have similar interests and as a conversation starter.
Awesome. Well, we've gotten to know you a little bit, just kind of scratching the surface here, but now Christine has a presentation, which will kind of be the next 20 minutes, I believe, and then we'll get into Q&A. So as Christine's going along, feel free to send those questions in. And for now, we'll turn it back over to Christine.
Thanks, Jeff. So awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be here to help you rock your LinkedIn profile. Hopefully, all of you guys already have a LinkedIn profile and want to learn how to best utilize it. And so I'm here to help you with that. So let's go into the agenda for today. I'm going to cover getting to know a little more about LinkedIn, why LinkedIn, your profile, beyond the LinkedIn profile, and go into Q&A and wrap up. So LinkedIn is all about you, your professional community, and helping you connect to opportunity. Our vision is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. It's our dream as a company, and it's what drives us at LinkedIn every day. Followed by our vision is our mission, which is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. So now let's talk a little more about our network. How does LinkedIn create value for you? And the answer to that really sums up into our value proposition, which is to connect to opportunity. Some examples are how to get a job, like getting a job, building your professional identity, and learning new skills. So let's talk about how you can leverage the power of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has some powerful data, tools, and insights that can help you connect to opportunity. This starts with our professional community, where we have over 690 million members on our platform. We have over 50 million plus companies, millions of job openings listed on LinkedIn. We have over 636,000 skills featured on LinkedIn. We have over 90,000 university, including Irvine, and more than 280 billion feed updates viewed each year. So now that you have a better idea of the power of LinkedIn, let's shift back to you, the amazing anteaters in this room. So your LinkedIn profile is a digital portfolio that represents you and tells your professional story. So I want you to think of it less as a resume and more as a digital portfolio that's engaging, visual, and highlights the experiences and skills to help you build your professional brand. Your profile helps you get recognized, can open doors to new opportunities, give you credibility, and showcase your brand and tells your story. Starting with a photo. Now, raise your hand if you have a profile photo. I know that I can't see you guys, but I believe there is like a raise your hand feature. Oh, I see. Awesome. A lot of hands raising. Love it. So you're already on your way to being viewed 21 times more because you have a LinkedIn profile. So make sure if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, it's okay. It doesn't have to be professional, but just you can take it with your phone. Just make sure it's high res, has good lighting, and it just features you. You like your friends, but this profile and this story is about you only. You can use the LinkedIn photo filters that we have to polish your photo as well. After adding a photo, the next most important thing is to update or add your industry. It's super important because it's often how others will find you and add you to their professional network. In addition to adding your industry, the industry will also give you 9 times more profile views. And members with industry information are often discovered up to 38 times more in recruiter searches. So if you want to get in front of those recruiters, definitely add this is important. And then next is the summary. Think of your summary as your elevator pitch. It should include introduction of you and highlight your accomplishments and aspirations. Adding a summary of 40 words or more makes your profile more likely to be turned up in front of a future employer search. And then following the summary is your experience. So the experience is the opportunity for you to tell your professional story about your accomplishments with each of the roles you've had. A great way to showcase this is to write in short paragraphs versus bullet points. Bullet points feel more like a resume, but this is really about your professional story. And you can use a couple bullet points, but I recommend doing more on like the reading like a story one. And then if you work for like a smaller company or a startup that isn't as well known, give a brief introduction of the company before going into your experience so people know like what the company does and then like what you contribute to it. And it's great to show like the impact that you had for the company, the results you've delivered, and the changes you've created for them. And then let's dive into the rich media. Rich media is a photo, a presentation, a video, or anything that really visually enhances your profile and makes it more dynamic. So like it really helps people connect to what you do by seeing like visuals. And keep in mind that this doesn't have to be content that you own. So if your company has a branded video or any company brand assets, like you could definitely use that in your profile too. And last but not least, let's talk about the volunteer experience. So adding volunteer experience is super important and a great way to round out your professional identity and make sure that your volunteer experience, you give a quick 1 or 2 sentences to describe what you did for that specific organization. And actually almost half of hiring managers say that they view volunteer experience as equivalent to formal work experience. So if you don't have formal work experience, it's okay. Like you can go volunteer and add that to your profile because it's very important too. And next we have skills and endorsements. So adding skills is a great way to showcase what you're great at. And adding at least 5 skills can get you up to 17 times more profile views. Because professionals search keywords and skills on LinkedIn, so it's a great way to be found. And remember that you have full control of your skills, so you can choose what you want to be displayed and like which order you want. or what you don't want to have displayed. Like an example is someone had endorsed me for having long hair, my long hair, which while I appreciate that they like my hair, it's not something that I wanted to showcase on my LinkedIn profile. So thank you to that person, but it's not on my LinkedIn profile. So skills are a great way to showcase what you're good at. And let's now talk about what's next is the recommendations. Recommendations is a great way to build your professional credibility. If you don't have them already, highly recommend to request it from a colleague, manager, a partner. It's super important. It really does build like your credibility. And I recommend that when you're making the ask, depending on who you're asking, customize your request and make sure like you let them know like what specific project you want them to recommend you for. And we even say like if you're requesting for a senior leader, maybe it's giving like a first pass and letting them, or a template so it's easy for them to write you a recommendation. And definitely choose people who you have worked closely with, who can provide examples of your strengths, skills, and experiences and have it really come to life. And other important things, don't forget about updating and adding your location. This will help with discovering opportunities and connections in your area. And education is important. All of you guys, all of us, we all have UCI. So add that as part of your profile. And then if you have any publications that you've authored, feature that. And any other accomplishments, any like honors or awards that you won, those are great accomplishments to add to your profile. And now that we talked about how to take your profile to the next level, let's talk about how you can really leverage LinkedIn to build a strategic network. So LinkedIn is a place where you can share your insights, expertise, and opinions with your professional community. So there's two ways to do that, to share your professional perspective. And one way is to share updates, and the second way is to publish. And so what is the difference? Sharing updates is a way for you to quickly share knowledge, perspective, and insights. And publishing is a way for you to explore a topic by writing a long form post. And to get started with status updates, you can easily do that from your homepage. You'll see the share box at the top when you sign into LinkedIn. And there's a couple of things that can help you stand out from a crowd on LinkedIn with your status updates. And here are some best practices, which is sharing your authentic voice. LinkedIn is a platform where you can be heard by your professional community. So be authentic, stay on brand, and show up consistently. We recommend posting frequently so you have more opportunities for your content to be discovered. Start conversation. Post something that engages your professional community, whether it's a question, provide your perspective on a current event or an article. The more people engage with your post, the more that it gets shared and noticed in the feed. And include rich media, like what I mentioned, like photos and visuals are powerful and they really help with a post to stand out. And posts that include rich media generally gets more comments and likes. And when posting a status update, think about the things that you can share that will benefit, your professional community. And likewise, it goes the other way around too. Like use your status to post questions and get insights from, people as well. So it's a two-way street. And now that we've talked about sharing status updates, we'll go more into publishing on LinkedIn, and which is a great way for you to explore topics that you care about and matter to you and share your insights to the community. And once you publish the content, people can follow you and to stay on top of what you're doing, what you're saying, and the posts that you have on LinkedIn. And it's a great way to establish thought leadership within your community of professionals. So how does it work? Similar to what I mentioned about the status updates, you also start with your homepage and you could select write an article to get you started. And here are some tips to help showcase that and make your voice heard. Some best practices for publishing content. Create a headline that captures, that really stands out. We're all really busy, so ask yourself, like, is this a title that you would click on a busy day? If yes, great. If not, maybe think of a catchier headline to capture people's attention. Include a photo. Again, it's articles with cover photos always gets more views and comments. And it's a great way to like break out the article when there's like, you know, lots of long form like words and posts. And be authentic. That's always like important. Like have your like own perspective, share your thoughts. Like people want to know what you think. Like you have tons of, you know, great experience and expertise that people want to hear your views and your perspective on things. And think about your audience. Like remember who they are and like what they benefit from. You know, tailor your content to give back to the professional community that you have. And the article length does matter. Like even though it's longer form post, the sweet spot of the article is actually 600 to 1,000 words. And the best part of publishing content on LinkedIn is that you'll have the ability to see like the status and track the metrics and analytics that you published. You can just click on the view stats button. It'll help you see like, you know, target which professionals that benefit from your views. So you can see like from what company and what job positions people have that are like engaging with your content. So you can track this progress regularly. And so next, you know, LinkedIn helps you stay on top of news, content, companies and professionals that matter most to you. So let's talk about what it looks like, starting with following companies. So you can stay connected to companies that matter most to you by following them. For example, LinkedIn. You can follow LinkedIn to see, you know, what we're doing. It's very simple. Just go to the company's page and under the companies in the search and then follow them. So following companies can help you stay on top of the news, trends and new products, launches for that company, jobs. So getting like, especially when you are interested in a company, you want to know like the most up-to-date what's going on. If you're interviewing, definitely showcase that you did the research of looking into what the company is doing. So this is a great way to help you with that. And then in addition to following companies, you can gain insights from following LinkedIn influencers. So you can follow industry influencers to stay on top of any key trends or topics, insights from people you respect and admire, such as Bill Gates. And when you follow an influencer, you can see their activity across LinkedIn in the feed. And you can also basically stay informed of what matters most to you. So you can leverage LinkedIn to do that. And then we also have advanced and quickly what matters most to you. So if you're searching for, you know, jobs, a company or people, you can turn on your desired filter and see what's most relevant, like by location, by industry. So that could be really helpful for you. And then also you can customize your LinkedIn experience through the feed. And how you do that as a member on LinkedIn, we give you full control of your LinkedIn feed, like what you want to see. We want to empower members to consume the content that matter most to them and is most relevant. So you can manage it. You can hide posts. You could report posts if you feel like it's inappropriate content. You could unfollow or follow people, companies, influencers. And so that it tailors like your content is the most relevant to you so that you're able to engage with the things that actually matter most. So, you know, with that said, you're already on your way to having a rocking LinkedIn profile, which is the first step to be seen by recruiters and hiring managers. And so with that kind of wraps up how to create a rocking LinkedIn profile and how to best utilize the platform by sharing your content and following the leaders and how to use it. Since a lot of you may have LinkedIn profiles already, I'm sure there are other questions maybe that's more in depth. So want to open up to Q&A to see, to hopefully try to help answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Thank you so much, Christine. That was a great overview. Now, we do have some great questions and a lot of them. So I'm going to do my best to sift through them. And Christine, we'll see what we can have for you. So the first question comes from one of the Lohia family. We have many engaged, Pavan, Pooja, and Payal. I'm not sure which one this is, but we do have a question. What do you recommend people add to their LinkedIn profile to stand out amongst their peers and recruiters? Buzzwords, hobbies, etc.
Yeah, so I mean, so I would say if there are specific if there's specific roles that you're interested in, take a look at, what the job description is, right? So if, for example, I used to recruit for machine learning engineers. So, there's keywords within data, machine learning that I would have looked at if you have those. So it's like, obviously, if people are just writing random keywords and actually don't have those experience, like that out too by seeing like the experience piece, what they actually did. But that's a good first step, is to be able to see what are some words, what are some things that the employer is looking for, and do you have that? Do you have those on your profile to be searched?
Okay, thank you. And yeah, we have tons of questions, almost 200 attendees right now. So
Awesome.
I'll I'll see if I can rapid fire the best, the most engaging questions. One anonymous user asked, "What are your thoughts about having a separate personal website in addition to a LinkedIn profile? Is it worthwhile? Do you have any recommendations to put the link to your personal website on your LinkedIn profile, etc.?"
Yeah, I don't think that hurts to, if you want to, depending on what you do and what your brand. So I mean, a lot of, I know a lot of like blogger friends, like they have their own websites and they'll link to their LinkedIn, link to other things to continue to build on that. So I'd say, like, depending on what you're trying to do, like if you want people to see like your LinkedIn, your professional side, definitely use LinkedIn, but you can, it just depends on what site you were thinking. But if it's like overall, like you want to add all your social medias, you could definitely link LinkedIn to your personal site as well. But I think that LinkedIn itself, if it's just specifically for like professional stuff, it has so much tools that you could use already to really build on that and engage there, because we have, again, like so many professionals on the site. It's like it is the largest site with all the professionals. So if you're trying to look for that, I would say that's the best place. But hey, you can totally welcome to build another site as well in addition to that.
Right. Well, actually, something in your answer led me to think about something that we talk about at the UCI Alumni Association. So I hope you don't mind, but I want to bring up the UCI Alumni Network specifically, of which we are all a part. Everyone has that common ground here on this presentation. We have more than 170,000 alumni on LinkedIn, and that right there may be your most powerful network that you are a part of as an anteater. At our events, we encourage everyone in the room to connect with each other. There's a great function on the LinkedIn app on smartphones for proximity connections, for spatial awareness, and there's even questions about how to approach a company if you're trying to make a personal connection, if you're applying for a specific job or you want to make some inroads. Who do you talk to? Do you want to go to a recruiter directly on LinkedIn? Or maybe do you consider going to a UCI alum who works at that company, who might be maybe a little bit more of a warm connection? So how, Christine, if you wouldn't mind just riffing a little bit on taking advantage of that UCI alumni network on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. So definitely warm connections are going to be stronger than, like cold calling, cold reach outs. Not that that never works, but I think because people have sometimes so many emails and messages and people reaching out. And as much as like you may want to help everyone, there's so many, like, how do you prioritize and stuff like that. So generally, I find that people are more willing to help out when there is a mutual connection and something that they care about. And I think, we're all here at UCI. We most of us hopefully really liked our experiences there and the people that we met. So having that, it's like it's a really great way to be that warm introduction. It's like, hey, I see that you work at XYZ company and I'm interested in learning more. Like starting, not saying like, hey, I want a job and, how can you help me? But kind of like maybe doing informational interviews. Like, do you have a quick, 20 minutes to do a quick call to learn more about like what your company is doing, what you do for that role. So showing that like, hey, I also went to UCI. I think it's like, I feel like people are more it's like a network you have already. UCI is like a network, and like this kind of opportunities like this is like a networking, right? So definitely take advantage of that, and talk to the people. There's so many, I'm sure there's tons of people, all the alumni that have really cool, interesting work that you could tap in. I think, Jeff, you're on mute. I don't know, we lost you.
I was on mute. Apologies. Um, I think we've all done that at some point, and there we go. And by the way, that was Paya Lohia who asked that first question. But there's an interesting question here from Saket Shroff. How important are skill endorsements to recruiters on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so for me, like as I mentioned, like skills endorsements, I think it was like I said, it was 5. If you have at least 5, you're more likely to be viewed. And it depends, but for me, I feel like it does validate. So because you can go to your LinkedIn profile and write, you know, whatever you want, but then the endorsement piece and the recommendations really showcase, like, you know, it shows your credibility. So I can say like I was a rock star, but you know, no one really is backing me up right now, unless like you see that there's other people who I've worked with that have endorsed me. And so it's like, I think that it enhances. It's okay if you don't have, like, I would say at least just have at least 5 skills. And it's okay if you don't have a ton, but I do think it's important because it does validate and bring the credibility of your work. So things that are relevant to like the work that you do. So it's like, I think it's definitely something really good to have.
I do notice some alumni or other connections I have when they're in between positions, or maybe they're looking to move on to their next one, they're pretty aggressive about requesting endorsements. And I know that that's kind of something that happens on LinkedIn. And I guess that sounds like it may be moderately effective based on your answer. So thank you for sharing. So let's see. Another anonymous attendee has a more specific question about volunteer experience, because you touched on that. But is it bad to mention volunteer experience with religious organizations, political organizations, or anything else that may be a little more personal or even divisive?
Good question. I think that it's whatever you feel comfortable sharing. If that's part of, you know, those are causes that you care about, you should be able to be your authentic self, and the people that hire you should accept you for, you know, your, I mean, it probably needs to align, but they should be able to accept you. You want to work for companies who will accept you for your authentic self. So whatever you feel comfortable sharing, like whatever volunteering experiences you have, that's fine. If it's relevant, if it's a relevant work or relevant, you know, skills that you're contributing to the organization that you can bring to the company that you were to work for.
That's a great answer. I've heard in the industry, and my learnings dealing with alumni are that you may not be the right fit for every company, even if you want to go to a certain employer. If that employer isn't the best fit for your true self, then maybe you should be looking somewhere else. So that's a good point. If you want to express your true self, that's important to you, then that'll help you find a better match. Yeah, so here's a good another question from an anonymous attendee. Is it appropriate to add mentorship programs that you volunteered for under volunteer experience? Does mentoring someone in your industry qualify as volunteer work? And before you answer, I'm going to make a quick shameless plug. The Anteater Network, if you haven't heard of it, the Anteater Network is this amazing tool that UCI has put out to all of our students and alumni. We have 6,700 members right now doing mentee-mentor relationships. Really easy to use, really easy to make a big impact, and it fits into your life because you can even do it virtually. You'll find that on the Anteaters Go Virtual page. So if you did mentor through the Anteater Network, back to the question, Christine, is it appropriate to add mentorship programs under volunteer experience?
100%, because you're volunteering your time somebody else, that's really related. It's definitely a great thing to add to your volunteer experience. And thank you for mentoring others. I think that's like mentorship is definitely really important.
Great. Kriti Rajput asks, is it appropriate to keep the activities you were involved in at UCI on your LinkedIn profile if you're 10 years plus out of college? And when does this become inappropriate? I know this is probably subjective, but you know, college involvements, where do they belong on LinkedIn profiles, or for how long?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I mean, I'm kind of on the same boat where it's been 10 years. And so when I first started, when I didn't have as much work experience, I definitely put a lot of, because I was so involved on campus, put a lot of like a relevant work experience, you know, as a peer counselor and as like planning events for ASCCI. But now that I have gained more experiences, they're not on my main like experiences, but you can, as I mentioned before, that there's a piece where you put your education, and so you can put like things that you were involved in school, like under that piece. So say like UC Irvine, and then you could put like what you were involved with in Irvine. So it's a great way to still have that, but it's not like highlighted in like the experience section.
Wonderful. Okay, I think my video was off. Apologies for that. Should be back
No worries,
on
you're
now.
back. I see Peter the Anteater, so we're good.
Yes. Okay. So you mentioned the LinkedIn summary, which you build as the kind of elevator pitch. Does it actually make a significant difference to recruiters? Like, I could see some people thinking recruiters look at that first and foremost, or do recruiters skim down to the actual experience first? And that was from an anonymous attendee.
Lots of anonymous attendees. Share your names with me. I'm not that scary. That's a good question. Yeah, so when I was in recruiting, I definitely looked at, I mean, experiences are important, but I looked through because it's a good summary, because sometimes people have so many things in their experiences. So it helps with, you know, shortening down like a quick thing for me to understand what that person is doing and what they want to accomplish and achieve. So that's actually a really great way, because people skim. There's so many profiles that people are skimming, like looking through. And so that is a great way to, it's literally, if you have 30 seconds with someone, like what would you put on there, right? If you're in an elevator and they're going to be gone in 30 seconds, what do you want to say to them so they know like the work that you're doing? So I definitely think that that's really important.
Got it. Okay, so Kim Clancy asks a question, maybe for a more experienced group of professionals. Where is the best place for executives who want to join their first corporate board to advertise their interest and availability to corporations? Have you ever seen that done successfully on LinkedIn?
So I know that there's like there's an option to put like different types of work that you could do a filter, like based on like, you know, you want to do like consulting for specific like volunteering orgs, nonprofits, and things like that. So I think you could filter it where you show like your interest in engaging with other organizations on LinkedIn. But I don't know about like
Okay.
specific, like to be on the board for a specific, I'm not really sure on that one actually, but I believe that if you show your filter, it goes to like, it allows organizations to see what type of work you're offering to help out with. And in any case, like, you know, you could definitely also reach out on LinkedIn. Like, I'm sure companies would be happy to have like, you know, your expertise in knowledge sharing that you have. And so again, like you can directly reach out to whoever you need to get their attention to, you know, to see if there's a good fit there.
Great. Okay. We have time for one or two more questions for this portion. Daniel Park asks an interesting one. He's curious to hear your thoughts on whether people should accept all connection requests or only from those they've actually worked with, met, connected with, etc. And that's something that I've struggled with over the years as well. I think a lot of people are unsure how to handle that.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good question. And generally, we recommend the quality connection versus the quantity of connections that you have. And,
Mm,
you know, I recommend really connecting with people that you know, first of all, because it is like, you know, you'll see like what people are talking about. It's like, are those relevant to you and your professional community? And so that's something I think of like, would you want to see like their content on LinkedIn? And usually the best practice I would, yeah, for me, I personally connect to people, only the people that I know, that we had some kind of like interaction that was like meaningful, that makes sense for them to be in my professional network. And I get that sometimes it's hard because you don't want people to feel that, you know, you don't want to add them, but it is like a professional network, and it's like you want to have that as a strong professional network. Like you can connect on in other areas, right? But for LinkedIn, definitely recommend connecting with people that you know and brings value, or you can bring value for professionally. And if anything, you can also follow people or have them follow you, because that way, if they want to stay engaged with what you're doing, learn about, you know, what about your expertise, they can follow you and see like your feed. And see what you're posting on and engage with you that way without having to kind of you know, clutter like setting it, because I have so many invites from people that I don't know, and
mm,
I like I wouldn't like I won't like for me I wouldn't accept everybody. I do think that in some cases, like, you know, if you're trying to reach out to someone that you want to connect with because there's something specific, you know, tailor your message so that it's relevant for that person, and so that they feel that they want to help you or want to connect with you. Like, what is the reason behind that connection? And I
yeah,
remember our CEO mentioned that, you know, generally for him, he only connects with people that he's actually really worked with. That's his style. So everyone has their own way. But for me, I connect with people that I've known. I know actually in person, or now I think
yeah.
virtually, as long as I connect with them.
Okay, so we know how you do it, and the CEO of LinkedIn does it. So that's very helpful. Um, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to point out our great colleague Goran Matijasevic pointed out an answer to a question. You can put a lot of your college experiences under your degree in the education section. So if there were important involvements for you, you can put them in there rather than list them as job experience. And then one more question, because there are so many great questions here, but a lot of them were focused on the LinkedIn summary statement. Um, Someone asks if, Russ Kerr asked, if you're actively looking for work, do you recommend putting something in the headline like seeking new opportunities, or, you know, open to the next challenge, that kind of thing? I've seen that. I'm not sure if it's effective or not.
I like that question, and I think it is, because it's just like it's easy to know, like recruiters are looking for talent, and so and a lot of times people aren't actively looking for jobs, and they reach out, and you know, they might never get an answer, but if they know that you are on the market looking for your next opportunities, that they're going to get a response from you because you are looking, and so that kind of helps them answer the question of like, is this person even interested, you know, in opportunities? And we do currently have a function where you could share your if you're interested to other recruiters, and so there's an option to turn that on so people know that you are, you know, you're interested in new opportunities. So you can turn that on if you're interested in new opportunities, and you could also put it in your headline as well.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So, um, I believe we have a poll. Are we ready for the poll? We want to get some feedback from the audience, so that we can both better inform our future programming and get some feedback on this. So you'll see a couple of polls pop up. They're very quick. Try to answer quickly if you can, everyone. Um, the first question: is this your first webinar or online engagement with UCI alumni programs? Simple yes or no. There's a lot of them out there. We're doing Wellness Wednesdays every Wednesday. We're doing these Friday lunch and learns. Lunch with Leaders. Many chapters are doing a lot of other events. And by the way, I'm going to circle back to wrap up with Christine, but we wanted to get these polls in before we finish the program. So go ahead and say yes or no to that one. Okay, and then I think we'll move on to the next poll. Let's see. While we're doing that, another tip I wanted to point out, UCI has its own page on LinkedIn, and this is very important for you. You can see so much data. You can see where our alumni work, what region they're working in, what employers they're working in, what industries, et cetera. You can drill down and see first, second, third level connections. And that is one of the most effective ways personally I've seen to reach out to alumni at a specific employer or region. We actually do that to connect with you all, to invite you to events, to point out programs we have that might be interesting to you. And it's an incredibly powerful search tool, which is available to all UCI alumni just as part of the basic LinkedIn package. So just a phenomenal product. We're heavily reliant on it. I would encourage everyone to be as reliant on it as we are at UCI. That's another great way to do the virtual networking. Excuse me. Okay. So do we have a second poll coming up? Okay, they're done. We're done with the polls. All right, so now we're going to wrap up here. I want to first and foremost extend a tremendous Anteater thanks to Christine. We're sad that we don't have a physical gift that we can hand off to you right now from across the state, but we will next time we see you, because we will see you soon. Thank you so much, Christine, for volunteering your time to do this program and to help about 200 Anteaters out with our own search efforts and using LinkedIn effectively. Before we go, I want to let everyone know that our next Lunch with Eaters sorry, can everyone still hear me? The next Lunch with Eaters program is going to be in 2 weeks on Friday, June 5th from 12 to 1 p.m. That'll be featuring head coach of the UCI men's basketball program, Coach Russell Turner. And he is always a great interview and has a lot probably to say about this special season we had last year and this very interesting, controversial season we had this year. So tune in for that. You can register online. If you do have any more outreach or questions that you had unanswered today, feel free to reach out to us at alumni@uci.edu. We are always there for you, and you can answer or ask any questions you have about this program. A recording of this webinar will be provided in the thank you email that we send out to every participant who's on this call today. So that wraps us up. We're right about at the end of the lunch hour. So one more time, just a tremendous thanks to you, Christine Chow. Thanks to LinkedIn, and it's an amazing tool. I hope everyone's going to be using it a little bit more effectively now, or a lot more effectively. Connect with each other, connect with us at the UCI Alumni Association, join the UCI Alumni Group. There are many UCI alumni chapters who have groups on LinkedIn as well, and we highly encourage you to plug in that way. Lots of more creative, diverse, informative content will be coming to you from us. So for now, we'll sign off and we'll say zot, zot, zot. And thanks again, Christine. We will talk to you all soon.